Sayadaw continued to talk about the practice. So we can consider that he tried to bring out the goodness, the significance or the meaningful of the practice of Vipassana meditation. So as usual, he paid respect to the Jibbo gems and offer the best by the practice, offer to the Jibbo gem by the practice. And he wished on the yogi through the hard work of the practice will gain the freedom at last to escape on the suffering. So Sayadaw say that the first sermon of the Buddha named Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. So the turning the wheel of the Dharma. So he gave that Dharma talk 3 months after his enlightenment at the Deer Park for his first 5 disciples. And in that sutta, he points out a middle path. Middle path means the path to avoid 2 extremes. The first is extreme, I don't know how to say it, extreme, is that austerity on your body? And the second one is indulgence in the pleasure. So those 2 are extremes, and we should avoid. And if we walk on the middle path, which is the noble eightfold path, then we can avoid those 2 extremes. So in society, if we keep 5 precepts or 8 precepts, then we become a good citizens or good people, because we avoid the evil things and we do the good things by keeping the precepts. However, that's not sufficient for the yogis. The yogi continue to practice and to build up concentration and develop wisdom to complete the Noble Eightfold Path. And this path consists of a morality group, concentration group, and wisdom group. So the reason we practice Vipassana meditation, because we experience life full of the dissatisfaction, unsatisfactoriness, and so that we want to escape or get out of the suffering by practice of Vipassana meditation to gain the freedom from the sufferings. So if we take 5 precepts, please keep the 5 precepts all our life. And if we come to the meditation center and practice meditation, we try to keep 8 precepts so that it can help us to practice easier. And the second group is concentrations. So we try to put the effort in the practice to build up the mindfulness, to develop concentration so that we can have a good concentration. That is a concentration group. Then when our concentration is strong and it has the power to penetrate into the nature, the real nature of the phenomena, to understand them. And with this understanding, we understand well the truth about the sufferings. Then from there, we can get rid of the cause of the suffering, and we can realize the cessation of the mind and matter, or the realization of nibbana. So that is the result of the wisdom group. So that is the practice of Vipassana meditation. So regarding the contemplation, the four foundations of mindfulness consists of the contemplation on the body, contemplation on the feelings, contemplation on the consciousness, and contemplation on the dharmas or the mental object of the mind. So regarding the contemplation on the mind, the Buddha taught in the sutta the four foundations of mindfulness. So when the mind concentrated, the practitioner knows the mind is concentrated. When the mind is not concentrated, then the practitioner should know the mind is not concentrated. So that is the Buddha teaching about the contemplation on the mind. That means whatever mental state occurring prominently at the present moment in the mind, then the practitioner should know it as it is, without judging. So that is the contemplation on the mind. And the meditations, we practice meditation in order to cultivate mindfulness. Then from steady mindfulness, we develop concentration. Then from concentration, we develop wisdom. But what is meditation? Meditation is repeatedly observe the object again and again and again and again, every moment. And what is concentration? Meaning concentration is you live with the present moment. So whatever phenomena happen at the present moment, the mind is on it. So by living at the present moment, we stop the thinking process. Because thinking is thinking about the past or thinking about the future. And that's how we live in our daily life. And thinking process make our mind greedy, aversion, or ignorant. And these three unwholesome mental states bring suffering to us. So in order to stop this process of thinking, then we should not think about the past, should not think about the future, but dwell on the present moment. So we dwell on the present moment, then we do not think. And that is a concentration. Sayadaw say the past doesn't have the beginnings. We don't know where it starts. If we reflect back our past, maybe we remember when we were a few years old, but beyond that we may not remember anything. So we don't know the beginning. For the futures, we don't know where the future ends. So, endless. So, but we have the tendency to think about the past, think about the futures. And regarding the future, usually we are greedy while thinking about the futures. And our greed is bottomless. So we want more and more. For the practitioner should live at the present moment. Contemplation on what is happening right at the moment. And if we can do that continuously or can do that for long, then we can develop the concentrations. So in the daily life we live without awareing or appreciating of the breathing or of the breath. We don't value the breath. But for the practice, we focus on the breath or the phenomenon related to the breath, or ultimately the air elements. So Sayadaw say that the science relies on the air to invent many things benefiting the human race, like an airplane, for example. But that's it all for just the worldly benefit. But for the practitioner, what the Buddha taught in his Dharma is we rely on the air element. We contemplate on the air element, one of the four primary factors. And in order to develop mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. And the Buddha, when he practiced under the Bodhi tree, he followed the breathing. So that is the air element. And from this practice, he developed mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. And he gained the highest enlightenment. So the practitioner should note all the prominent phenomena happening at the present moment continuously. Don't forget. That's Sayadaw says. He gave an example. If the small long needle of the watch or the clock and move continuously, if it stops, then the time will not continue and will not reach the time correctly. So if we practice, and we should practice continuously like that, if we break our mindfulness, then it's hard for us to reach whatever we want to gain from the practice. So he say that each yogi has this manual, and in this manual it gives some guidance about encourage the practice, guidance about the reporting, and the meditation teachers give instruction to all the yogis, but the progress varies depending on each yogi. The progress depending on how the yogis practice and the merits accumulated in the past. So when we go to the meditation teacher to report about our experience, each yogi report differently. So he say like we do composition or painting. Each one write his or her composition, but each one, none is the same as the other one. The same way as the experience of the yogis. The painting the same way. Different artists paint differently. So even the same topic. So the same as the result of the practice from the yogis. So when we practice, we should develop concentration from four positions of the bodies. Walking, standing, sitting, and lying. Sayadaw say that when he was a novice at the temples, and he didn't know how to practice meditation, so he noticed that he didn't. Usually, the mind goes ahead of the bodies. The same way with the worldly peoples. But the practitioners are taught to have the mind in the bodies. So when the body moves, the mind observe it, so move along with the bodies. And that is the way the Buddha taught us to practice meditation. When we contemplate on the body, whatever phenomenon happen in the body, we notice that. So our mind is with our body. So knowing what's going on. When the feelings occur, then our mind note the feelings. So the mind is with the feelings. So when the mental state occurring in the mind, our noting mind will note the other mental states. So the mind is with the mind at the moment. And whatever the phenomenon happening as a mental object of the mind and become prominent, we contemplate on that. Like we hearing the noise. So whatever happening at the present moment, in the mind, in the body, and our mind, noting mind, should be with those phenomena. So if we can do that, then we understand the nature of each object in these four fields clearly. And that means we do the meditation correctly. And since we do the meditation correctly, we develop concentration. Then we gain wisdom. So the yogi should have a patience and should do it continuously and correctly. So we practice here during the retreat 1 month, 10 days, 20 days, or 1 month. Then we know how to practice. Then we go home. We may not do it frequently. Then kind of forget. Then we realize that we need to go back to the center to do it again. Then yogi will come again. Or they want to make more progress, more suitable environment, so they come again and practice again. And they develop the concentration and the joy in the practice, so they feel good about the practice. So the yogis, the benefits the yogi learn or develop from the practice is when they have the concentrated mind, they know, like the Buddha taught in the sutta. And when their mind is not in concentration, then they know also. So that is exactly the Buddha taught. When the mind is concentrated, we know the mind is concentrated. When the mind doesn't concentrate, we know the mind doesn't concentrate. So whatever happening in the mind, then we know it as it is. So in daily, we suffer in the worldly life. Why? So because we had the illusion about the self. So when we walk, we say, I walk. When we go to the market, I go to the market. So whatever we do, always the big I there. So, and that big I is the illusion about the self. So when we practice meditation, we see the body and the mind and clearly. So we can see that the reason something happened because of the intention. Besides that, there is no such a thing as a person or a cell in there. So we understand better. And from this understanding or wisdom, we gradually get out of that illusion of the self. So there is an idiom in Vietnamese say that if you are patient to rub the piece of iron for a long time, you can turn it into a needle, useful needle. So that idiom say patient and put effort in whatever you do. So in here we practice, Sayadaw said, be patient and put the effort into the noting. Then one day you will develop wisdom. So you rub the piece of the iron back and forth, the same way as we note the rising and the falling again and again and again. Then finally we get the beautiful needle. That means the wisdom. So when we practice here, we develop mindfulness in 4 positions: walking, standing, sitting, lying. And we will apply those when we go back to the worldly life. And Sayadaw say that is If we know how to keep the precepts, then we are the good people in life. But those people are not as good as the people keeping the precepts and practice meditation and experience the rising and the rising and disappearing of the phenomena. So he gave example. So people come to this country and they want to stay in this country, but they don't get the permanent residency yet. So they wish to get the permanent residencies. And once they get the permanent residency, they feel comfortable, good, because they know for sure a few more years, they can become citizen. That is normal. People wanted this country. So he say, if you practice and you get the experience about the rising and disappearing of the phenomenon, if you experience that, like you have the green card, because for sure you will get enlightenment, like a residency. He gave that example, easy to understand. So when he traveled from Vietnam to India and studied in Nalanda University in India, and the teacher always encouraged the monks to experience the impermanence, the common nature of all the phenomena. And they explain the conversation between the king Milanda and the monk Nagasaki. Then he wondered, why do we have to understand the impermanence? Then the teacher say, when you understand the impermanence, that means you understand the arising and disappearing of the phenomenon. And you see the changing. And that understanding means that experience can change your status from worldly people into holy people. And the holy people have the 4 or 8 types. The first is the stream entrance, path and fruition, 1 or 2. And the second one is once returner, path of fruition. And the third one is no longer return to the sensual realm. And the fourth one is arahant, means the fully enlightenment. So people are afraid of death. So they try to do this or do that. So that with the hope that when after this life, they will be reborn in a better realm, to have more joys, better life. But Sayadaw say that, the Buddha say that no matter where you go in the 3 realms, mean the immaterial, material realm or the essential realm, you still have birth and old age, then death. So ultimately it's not as good as you practice Vipassana meditation, see the appearing, the rising and disappearing of the phenomena. Then you gain a power, and this power pushes you out of the gravity of the route of rebirth and to realize the Nibbana. So Sayadaw say, quote back the excerpt from the Sutta, Satipatthana Sutta. So he said that, and let me read it again. This is the only way, bhikkhus, for the purification of beings, for the overcoming of sorrow and lamentation, for the disappearance of pain and grief, for reaching the noble path, for the realization of Nibbana, namely the 4 foundations of mindfulness. What are the 4? Here in this teaching, bhikkhus, a bhikkhu dwells contemplating the body in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending and mindful, removing desire and discontent in the word. A bhikkhu dwells contemplating the feeling in the feelings, ardent, clearly comprehending and mindful, removing desire and discontent in the word. A bhikkhu dwells contemplating the consciousness in the consciousness, ardent, clearly comprehending and mindful, removing desire and discontent in the word. A bhikkhu dwells contemplating the Dharma in the Dharmas, ardent, clearly comprehending and mindful, removing desire and discontent in the word. So Sayadaw read the whole thing. So he mentioned back the practice is contemplation on the body. From that excerpt, contemplation the feeling on the feeling, contemplation the mind on the mind, and contemplation the dharmas on the dharmas. And the way the Buddha taught us how to do it is 3 factors in there. Is you have to put effort in, ardent, and clearly comprehending, means you have a clear comprehension. When you note the object, you should know the object as it is. That means clear comprehension. And mindfulness. So, and the goal is to removing desire and discontent in the word. So that means if we can do that, that is a benefit. So Sayadaw, when we practice a sitting meditation, we encounter so many difficulties, painful sensation, such as a pain. And when we have a pain, our mind is in distracted very, very often. So we wish the pain goes away. So we look at the watch, see how many minutes left, and we feel the watch runs so slow. Actually, the watch always runs correctly, but our mind is not correct. So that's why we feel like the time is so slow. So Sayadaw say that is difficulties in the practice are not with us only. The bhikkhus, his disciple, practice meditation, encounter so many difficulties. That's why the Buddha always encouraged them to practice by using the good, encouraging words. So Sayadaw cite several verses in Pali, and he explained here and there, but basically the meaning of the verses are like this. The practitioners with mindfulness observe the conditioned phenomena. And then whenever they observe the conditioned phenomena and they see, they experience the changing, the impermanence of the phenomena, then they will feel tired of the phenomenon, and therefore they can escape the sufferings. So whenever they contemplate on the conditioned phenomena, then they see on these conditioned phenomena with suffering nature. Anytime they experience that, then they will feel tired of the conditioned phenomena, and they try to escape and escape of suffering caused by these conditioned phenomena. Then the third one is not conditioned phenomena, but on the phenomena, mean on the dharmas, including the unconditioned phenomena. So if they see the real nature, impersonal nature or non-self nature of on the phenomena, including the nibbana, then they will gain the wisdom to escape the suffering means they get enlightenment. So then Sayadaw tell a story about his practice. So he went to Burma and he practiced Vipassana meditation. And the teacher is Venerable Janaka. Sayadaw came here last retreat and gave very good Dharma talk. So that's Sayadaw, is Janaka Sayadaw. And the yogi go to report their experience. They rush. And Sayadaw see that. They say that I'll ask them to go back and walk slowly, mindfully, before they can report their practice. So, Sayadaw say that people in life walk with greed, anger, and delusion. But the yogis in this retreat or in any Vipassana retreat, when they walk with mindfulness. And when you walk with mindfulness, then your walking is without greed, aversion, and ignorance. So he say our mind trick us all our life. We don't know that because we don't know our mind. But when we practice Vipassana meditation, we sit down and we have a chance to see our mind very clearly. Because when we sit down and we try to contemplate on the object, and the mind goes somewhere, it doesn't follow us. But because we practice, so we know when the mind goes out, then we know the mind goes out. Like the Buddha say, when the mind is not concentrated, we know the mind is not concentrated. That's the difference between the practitioner and the worldly people. So the same way, the mind goes out, but the worldly people doesn't know that. But the yogi knows that. So then Sayadaw mentioned one very important teaching of the Buddhas. So the Buddha say that for someone who lives 100 years without seeing the rising and disappearing of the phenomena, there is not value as one who lives one day and experience the arising and disappearing of the phenomena. So Sayadaw say that yogis in the retreat, the minute they wake up, they try to be mindful until they go to bed. They try to go to bed mindfully. All day long, they try to be mindful with the patience and with effort, and they will experience the arising and disappearing up on the phenomenon, become prominent, and they note. So if they practice noting every second, then 1 minute is 60 seconds, and 1 hour 3,600 seconds, and 1 day is 24 hours. So many moments the yogi have a chance to note, so they can see the arising and disappearing of the phenomena. And so one of their day is more valuable than 100 years of the people who don't know the arising and disappearing of the phenomena. So Sayadaw say again, when you experience the arising and disappearing, like a foreigner who come to this country had a green card, so halfway already. The other halfway will come. So Sayadaw encourage the yogi keep contemplating on the four positions, walking, standing, sitting, and lying. Don't forget. Be mindful about what's happening. So Sayadaw say again, the Buddha taught this is the only way lead the beings to the perfect purification of the mind. So finally we will get the freedom from the suffering, or we realize in Nibbana. And Sayadaw say, when during our practice, we see three common characteristics of all the phenomena: impermanence, suffering and non-self, we have to experience these three. So we experience these three, we experience the fast arising and disappearing, then we become tired of conditioned phenomena. Then from that tiredness, we detach from them. And from the detachment, we have the wish to escape. And from that wish of escape, we put effort into the practice. Then we practice again and again, and one day we will gain the enlightenment. So with that, Sayadaw end the Dhamma talk and wish all the yogis continue to put the effort and happy with the practice and be patient and gain the enlightenment